What's up guys, this is Daniel from the Arms Family Homestead. Hey, this video is going to be all about drip irrigation installation. Now I've showed you guys all of my system that I've got set up, but I had lots of comments on my videos asking about how to set up a drip system, want to know the basics. So mine's a little complicated and there's lots of PVC pipe and fittings and elbows and turns, but there's a drip system is really easy and really basic, okay? Now, I would equate a drip irrigation system in the garden to a DVR to cable. DVRs change watching TV forever, and in my opinion, a drip system will change your garden forever. So, one of the hardest things in doing with a garden is keeping up with watering. I mean, during the summertime, the garden will dry out fast. You have a busy life, busy schedule. With an irrigation system and a timer, it's automatic. You don't even have to do that part. So that saves you minutes or hours a week, So let's get into it. Just the basics of how to set up a drip irrigation system in your garden, okay? Now there's lots of ways to set up a drip irrigation system, and my way is not the only way. I'm no expert and don't claim to be. Now I've used a drip system for about 4 years now, and it's a game changer, okay? So there's a few things you need. Your main thing is going to be a main line. I use a 1-inch black poly pipe, some fittings for that black poly pipe, plugs, elbows, things like that. You're going to need these little cable clamps or hose clamps. These, got to have lots of those. You're going to need valves to run your drip tape onto. This goes into your poly pipe. This screws onto your T-tape. Gotta have those valves. You will definitely need a pressure reducer. Drip irrigation with this T-tape is a low pressure system, and this pressure reducer reduces the pressure of your water line down to 10 pounds of pressure. Okay, and then the DVR of your garden is this right here. A digital timer. It doesn't have to be digital. This is the one I use. I really like this thing. I can set it for how many days a week I want it to water, how many times a day I want it to water, and how many minutes each time it waters. This right here saves me lots and lots of time. Not only that, it saves me lots of money because it only takes once forgetting that your water's on and your water bill will go sky high. So, they use those sprinklers to water your yard, and if you're wanting to grow grass, use a sprinkler, because in a garden, the more area you water, the more grass you're going to be fighting. With a drip system and drip tape, you're only putting water right down that row, right where it needs to be. And this right here will help you keep from forgetting to turn that water off, because a drip system doesn't make any noise. You don't have that big sprinkler going. It's easy to forget. So a good timer is absolutely necessary. And then you'll need your drip tape. There's lots of different options when it comes to drip tape, lots of different spacings. I use a drip tape that's got a drip emitter every 6 inches. You can also use a system that's set up with drip emitters that are for each single plant, that have a little tube coming off and water each plant. I don't use that system. Nothing against it. I'm sure it works. It's just not what I've always done. I like the T-tape. The drip tape, it's just very functional, works great for me. So let's get all this stuff out in a spot in the garden, show you a little mock-up area of what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm out in the garden. We're going to pretend this is my main line. So this main line would run the full width of my garden. My rows are going to run this way. My main line will run perpendicular to that. Now this is just a short piece, just for reference. We're going to make a little short line, okay? So the first thing, you've got to be able to get some fittings. You got to buy the fittings to connect your black poly pipe to your garden hose, okay, or directly to your water spigot. Either way. So I've got a gray 3/4 inch to 1 inch fitting, and then it's threaded, and threaded into that is an adapter to go onto either a garden spigot or a garden hose. Okay, all this stuff you can either buy at several websites. Irrigation, Mart, DripWorks probably has it. Even Lowe's or Home Depot should have most of these fittings that you need. Okay, so that fitting just goes, the gray fitting just goes directly into the poly pipe with a hose clamp. And then on the other end, which is the other end of your garden, you're going to take a hose clamp, slide it on, and then your plug, because you got to plug the end of the pipe. Push that plug all the way in, which for demonstration purposes I'm not too worried about it. You're going to push that plug all the way in there and tighten that clamp down. Now that you got your main line ready, that'll lay at the end of your garden, okay? Then I'm just going to connect my garden hose to the end of my main line. Now I'm using the garden hose here. You don't have to use a garden hose. You can use poly pipe, take it all the way up to your spigot. Okay, and then from there, let me go show you my spigot, how I'm going to get everything set up there. So we're inside the high tunnel. Here's where my water comes in at. First thing is take my pressure reducer, screw it on, because we don't want too much pressure going to that drip system. So pressure reducer goes on. Next is my timer. My timer will screw directly into my line. Okay, there's my timer hooked up. Pressure reducer, timer, garden hose. So the next step, we're back out at our main line. I've got my hole punch to punch holes in my main line, and then my valves. So all I'm going to do is punch a hole in that line and then just pop this little valve in that hole. Okay, now that we got our valves installed into our main line, it's time to put our poly tape, or it's time to put our T-tape onto our valves. Just gonna roll that collar back, spread my T-tape open, push it on as far as I can, twist the lock back down. Once you get all of your valves put in and all your T-tape stretched out, which technically this would go all the way to the end of the row, we're just using some short pieces for example. The next step is going to be to close off the ends of those T-tape. Now you can buy some specific little figure 8 plastic clamps, different things. You don't necessarily need a plug for that, but you do need to fix that end of that tape so the water doesn't just run out. And the easiest way I found is cut a short strip of your T-tape, fold that end of that tape over, and slide this over the end of it. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm just going to fold the end of this tape over about 2 times and take this little strip of tape that I cut, of T-tape, drip tape, slide it over that, and that'll keep the end of this tape sealed off. Okay, so we've got everything set up. We got our garden line, our garden hose ran to our main line that stretches across the garden. Got our T-tape hooked into our valves. Got the ends pinched off. So it's time to turn on the water. Okay guys, so I hope that maybe clears up some of the questions you guys had on installing a drip system. That was kind of a quick run through. It's super simple. All it takes is that pressure reducer, a timer, your hose, your main line, all those fittings and things. You got to just piece together all those fittings. That is what it is. Your shut-off valves and that tool, this tool right here. Poke the holes in your poly pipe to put your valves in, and then your T-tape. So there's a lot of different ways to do this. I'm no expert. I'm not saying my way is the best way, but my theory in gardening is to grow less grass and more vegetables. And if I'm using a sprinkler system or a garden hose and just watering the whole garden, I'm watering the grass and the weeds, and that's causing more competition for my vegetables. So this drip system, I promise, will save you time, it will save you money, and it will save you work. So what else could you ask for in a garden? Okay. I will leave the links below to a lot of these products. If you want to buy the pieces, you can, but you can also buy a kit. There's several different kits, and I'll leave a link for those below. A whole garden kit, you know, it may cost you $200, I'm guessing. I don't remember, honestly. I've never bought it all as a kit, but it has everything you need to get started to do your whole garden on a drip system. I was browsing through Amazon, and one of the kits, you know, I think it would do like 40 rows in your garden. So for a couple $100, it's going to save you money, guys. It's going to save you time, because your time is worth money. It's going to save you water. That's worth money. So it's a great system. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Like I said, I'm not an expert, but I do want to share some of the things I've learned over the years with you guys. Gardening is fun. Gardening is work, but it can be a lot of fun. And the less time I have to spend doing the boring stuff like pulling weeds and fighting grass, the more pleasure, the more fun it is to see this stuff grow. And that drip system, that automatic system, you know, there's days where I've got to work a day shift, come home, change clothes, go to a ball game, get home after dark, get up the next morning, go to work. You know, this stuff needs taken care of. And if I can automate some of this, set that garden DVR to where I don't have to be out here every day watering, man, that saves me a lot of time. And it allows me to spend that time with my family. So, it's enough of the rambling. Check out the links below. I'm not saying you got to buy the systems that I put on the Amazon links. This is just give you an idea. So, let me know what you think, guys. Do you use a drip system? Do you use any kind of automated irrigation? Let me know. Guys, I hope that helped. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, leave me in the comments below. It's getting hot out here. I'm starting to sweat, and got things to do. So, thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you on the next video.